Welcome on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks digital network for Game 2 between the Harbor Hawks and the Chatham A's. It's a doubleheader. First game went 7 innings, and although it got a little bit interesting for the Harbor Hawks at the end, they were able to snap a 4-game losing streak with an 8-5 win over Chatham. And alongside my broadcast partner, Chris Walker, I'm Chris Lucy. Chris, the end of that game getting interesting off of a huge blast, a grand slam from Shea Langoliers of the A's.
Well, it's exactly what you didn't want of your Hyannis. You kind of wanted to go into game 2 just completely shutting the Chatham team down. They didn't do that, but they did get the win, and they snapped their 4-game losing streak, which was the one key. It wouldn't have mattered if it was 8-7 or 8-1 or 8-5 or anything in between, as long as they got the win. And to snap that skid is a big deal, and now they go to 4-6-1, and now they have a chance to pull within one game of 500. So just one win can really reverse it. There were a lot of good things, too, that happened, like DiCaprio getting his first hit. And the team scoring early in the game. Finally, they get 3 runs real earlier in the game, and it's something they haven't been doing. They scored, again, in 3 innings, 3 in the second, 3 in the fourth, 2 in the sixth. That's how you win a ball game.
It is, and another way to win a ball game is having solid starting pitcher Michael Britzell, really dominant through 5 innings. Chris, what did you see him doing well?
Well, he worked both sides of home plate very well. He really mixed in, A, his fastball and his off-speed pitches, but B, he worked left to right on hitters very well. And he just got in the habit of not letting things get out of control. If he allowed 2 base runners in an inning, he got out of it every time. He only allowed the 1 solo home run in 5 innings, and that was really it. He had such a good outing, and it was exactly what this team needed. Because as we saw, even if Hyannis led 8-5 going into that 7th inning, the Chatham A's weren't done. And so it was huge to have Britzell have such a good start, and that's why they won that game.
And starting for the Harbor Hawks right now is Weiss coming back out there to do the job. He has been lights out for the Harbor Hawks this year as well.
Right, 1.00 ERA. He's got a 1-0 record. 2 starts. This will be his 3rd start. That will lead the team. And he pitched 9 innings, just 9.0 innings, 7 hits, only 1 run and 1 hit. 7 hits, 1 run, 1 walk only, 8 strikeouts, all good numbers. And again, these are the 2 guys in Britzell and Weiss now that you really expect more than anybody else to give your team a good performance based on how they started. And Britzell did his part, and now Weiss is looking to do something very similar.
Catching for Weiss today will be Chris Proctor. He got the day off in the first leg of this doubleheader. Now he's back behind the dish. Over at first base, Ryan Olenek. Ford Proctor down at second. Hunter Stovall at shortstop. Brendan Donovan out of South Alabama will be taking third base. And from left to right in the outfield, same as it was earlier today, we have Jake Mangum from Mississippi State in left. Reese Hampton from Charlotte out in center. And in right field, now we have a little switch up there. Robert Newstrom switching places with Daniel Robinson. He is now the right fielder, and Robinson at DH.
Well, Chris, what I wanted to point out, and Hampton and Mangum did switch spots because Hampton was in left in the first game and Mangum was in center. But also Stovall and Proctor switch. They're all 4 of them are still in the game, but in their different positions. And then the DH, Robinson, and then and Newstrom switch, their roles. It's really interesting to see how Coach Gassman wants them to play their different positions. And up the middle, Proctor and Stovall is as good as it gets. They could play either position just as well as the other.
And they developed some chemistry, too, over the brief time that they've been able to spend together here out in the Cape, turning a 4-6-3 double play in the first game of the doubleheader, which was an 8-5 win for the Harbor Hawks.
Chris, you know what I'm really excited for? I'm excited to see Chris Proctor back behind the plate. I know Don DiCaprio got his first hit of the season after going over his first 21. But Proctor's been, I think, the better fielding catcher early in the season, and both of them are going to have 6 starts after today. And I'm excited to see Proctor back there, and here we go.
Jake Palomaki from Boston College will lead off. Jacob Olson, the center fielder out of South Carolina, after him. And in the 3 spot, the dangerous Shea Langoliers, designated hitter out of Baylor. So the fielders are in place. Brendan Donovan playing on the infield grass. Jake Palomaki at the left-hand side. We're underway, and he swings at a first pitch. Sends it high to center field. Reese Hampton is underneath it, and there's one away.
Excellent start for Ryan Weiss. Continues. Now he's at 9 1/3 innings under his belt. And start number 3 has started very, very well for this team.
And it brings up Jacob Olson, the center fielder out of South Carolina. Batting .350 on the Cape League season. Standing in the right-handed batter's box, the righty Weiss steals. Strike one, a fastball over the outside corner. 0-1 count.
Olson went 1 for 3 earlier today in the first part of this doubleheader.
The 0-1. Breaking ball, outside corner again, strike 2.
And that 1 for 3 is going to keep Olson right at that batting average of .350. It'll drop him down actually a little bit, but he'll take it.
And he takes one for a ride down the right field line. Chasing over is Olenek. He's at the fence, and it bounces just beyond the fence out of play.
You gotta love the effort always from Olenek. He made it all the way from first base, where he's playing for the second straight game, to the fence before the ball even got there.
Olenek, a lot of heart, and definitely one of the bigger characters on the team as well. And now we do the 0-2 again. Hit on a line, this time out to right field, and Robert Newstrom is tracking it over right center. He can't get there. It bounces off the warning track to the wall, and that is a double for Jacob Olson.
Well, Olson continues to stay hot. He's got himself the 2-game hit streak. He had one last game and the double to start this game. That's just a solid swing out into the gap.
And that gapper puts him on second with one away and brings up Shea Langoliers, who really struck fear into the hearts of Harbor Hawks fans in his last at-bat, a grand slam in the top of the 7th that brought Chatham within 3 runs.
Weiss needs to forget about that quickly and just worry about his at-bats against Langoliers, because Langoliers certainly knows that he's having a good day.
He stands the right-hand side of the plate, wiggling his bat, runner on second, held on by Proctor. And the first pitch is fouled back off the backstop.
Now let me ask you what you think. So Langoliers in the first game had 4 at-bats. Do you think he's liking the fact that he might have 8 at-bats today, or do you think he's going to get more tired? And the same with all these guys.
Oh, he wants more at-bats. That's why you're out on the Cape. You want to get at-bats, catch a little bit, and just have fun with it. Also sharpening your skills. The 0-1 slapped back behind home again. Count 0-2.
Might I agree? I think I would like to get as many at-bats as possible. I'd like 10 in one game or in one day, and they're going to get close to 8. The guys that are back for the second game, which is certainly what they love. Work on a lot of things in between games, maybe tweak a few things, and then get back out there.
It's been a full Sunday for both squads. Getting here around noon at 6:05, and we're just underway in game 2. And the 0-2 is clubbed out to center field. Reese Hampton going back towards the wall. He leaps. He can't get there. It's over his head. And Jacob Olson rounds third base. He's coming in. Throw from Hampton just down to shortstop as Olson comes in to score. And Langoliers with another big hit. That is a triple to put Chatham ahead 1-0.
Well, very good start for this Chatham team against Weiss. They've knocked him for 2 big hits in just the first 3 at-bats, and a double and a triple. And they're already halfway to the cycle, and they've got the hardest part done.
And the hardest hitter in this A's lineup, arguably stepping up to the plate, in Nick Patton.
Arguably, because Langoliers has really tormented this team today.
Yeah, while Patton has actually struggled against the Harbor Hawks. He struck out twice in the previous game of this doubleheader and didn't reach base against the Harbor Hawks in the Chatham A's 5-3 loss to Hyannis on the 20th. And he fouls the first pitch down the first base line, out of play, count 0-1.
Well, Chris, we're officially into the second quarter of this season with this game.
Just about. The 0-1, low and inside. Hyannis has played 10 games now. Chatham 9. 11 games now. They have a win or a loss in 10 games, a tie in 1 against Harwich. And the 1-1 is a strike. That tie always throwing me off. Not a score you see too often in baseball.
No. And the point system as well is interesting, but it's the cave, so anything goes.
Now here goes the 1-2 to Patton, and it's clubbed out to left field again. Mangum going back towards the track in the shadows, makes the play. Tagging up is Langoliers. He'll score easily and count that as a sac fly for Patton. He puts the A's ahead 2-0.
Well, Chatham has certainly picked up where they left off back in the 7th inning. In their past 2 innings, they've scored 7 runs on Hyannis, if you include last game, and that's 3 really hard-hit balls off of Weiss in the 1st inning. Not a good sign.
Nope, and here comes Cody Roberts in the 5-hole out of UNC, playing his college ball in the ACC conference. Nobody on. 2 down. Hyannis down 2-0. First pitch from the righty. Fouled off.
We didn't see Roberts last game, hitting 167 this season.
About 18 at-bats deep. Here's the 0-1. In the dirt outside, count 1-1. So Weiss got off to a good enough start getting an F8 out of Jake Palamaki, but then a double and a triple came, and that put Chatham ahead 1-0 as the next pitch is clubbed over down to third base. Brendan Donovan fields on the run, throws across to first for the final out of the inning. So on 2 hits and a sac fly for Nick Patton, Hyannis is down 2-0 going into the bottom half of the first. Jake Mangum, Reese Hampton, and Hunter Stovall due up when we come back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Stay tuned. Welcome back for the bottom of the first here from McKeon Park. Game 2 of a doubleheader versus the Chatham A's. The Hyannis Harbor Hawks, however, are down as they go into the bottom half of the first 2-0 off of a big inning from the Chatham A's on the offensive end, namely a triple from Shea Langoliers. And although Weiss was able to get out of it, now the Harbor Hawks have to counter and do so against Austin Bergner out of UNC.
Well, Chris, he has not pitched this season yet, so it'll be the first time seeing him this year. I mean, he's got to do it against a pretty good lineup here and one that's been really producing. They've had 8 runs and 6 runs and 6 runs in their last 3 games, so certainly no small task.
And now Bergner squares up Jake Mangum. Righty.
Look out.
Throws the pitch that is cut on and fouled well out of play down the left field side. Count 0-1. Bergner, again out of UNC, pitching 27 games this year, 48 innings pitched, an ERA of 3. The 0-1. High and tight. Mangum almost goes around. They check down to third base. John Giralmo says no. Brings the count to 1-1.
Mangum, Chris, 0 for 3 last game with the hit by pitch.
And the 1-1 from Bergner. Calls strike over the inside corner. Brings the count to 1-2. It's his first CCBL batter faced this year. Got activated today. So hasn't been on the Cape very long either. They're throwing him right into the fire. Here's the 1-2. Slap foul behind home. We'll do the 1-2 over again.
Mangum leading off in both games. He's got to be happy with all the at-bats, especially because he joined the team a bit late.
Yeah, and he's still waiting for his first hit on the day. He was 0 for 4, as you mentioned. Here's the 1-2. Strike 3 called high and inside, but right to the liking of the home plate umpire, John Leeds. And there's one away.
Now, Chris, do the umpires move? Do they switch because of these games? It didn't sound like the same strike 3 call. Looks like they all shifted over.
I wasn't informed of any changes, but we can check back with our official scorer, John Cabral. Reese Hampton at the plate now. Stands at the left-hand side. Waiting on the pitch from Bergner. Here goes. In the dirt. Forces him to dance out of the lefty batter's box. 1-0 count. Reese had a good game. 3 for 4 in the afternoon cap of this one. A double header against the Chatham A's. Takes ball 2, low and outside. One down here in the first. Here's the 2-0. Hit on a line up the middle and through for a base hit. Reese Hampton turns around second base, and he's going. Throw in, not in time. Reese Hampton turning around first base, sliding in head first with a double.
Nice piece of hitting from Hampton. And he just picks up right where he left off. He had 3 hits in game 1 and starts this one off with a double. Chris, I just wanted to mention, the umpires did shift. So John Leeds, the home plate umpire, moved to third. And they all moved clockwise, basically. So the first base umpire is now calling at home.
Adam Labardone standing back there.
Why Bardone? He was in the NECBL last year.
Interesting. And now here's Hunter Stovall. Comes up to the right-hand side of the plate with a runner on second. The pitch. Strike 1, low and away. Off-speed offering.
The only reason I noticed it because the strike 3 call was so quick. He calls the pitches very quick. He didn't take much time to decide.
And now the 0-1. Served foul down the right field line, out of play. Count 0-2 on Stovall. Started off today at shortstop, now staying up the middle, but scooting over to started at second base, I should say, now scooting over to shortstop. 1 for 3 on the day for this one, and he takes ball 1 low and away. Hyannis already down early in this one, 2-0.
But I'm happy with that double by Hampton to get the hitting going right away.
Now here's Stovall with the 1-2. Ball outside. Nice frame job from Pena behind home, but not fooling anybody. Brings the count to 2-2.
Chris, that strike zone is different than the first one we saw today for sure. Seems like it's going to be tighter.
Looks like it. The pitch. Outside again. Count 3-2. Reese Hampton on second base. Drawing a look here and there from Austin Bergner. Hunter Stovall fighting back to a 3-2 count. Hyannis down 2-0. Bergner taking his time, steps off the rubber, and now is back on, waiting a while to get the signs from Pena. Palamaki holding on the runner at second base. Reese Hampton retreating back. Beautiful day for a ball game here at McKeon Park. The payoff pitch. Grounded foul down the third base line. Coach Chad Gassman jumps to the front of the third base coaching box to get out of the way.
That fastball read 91 miles an hour. That's what they've been all reading on the scouts' radar guns below us. He's right in that low 90s range.
Bergner with a good amount of speed on that 6'4" frame. And the 3-2 is high and outside. Ball 4. So getting a lot of speed behind it, but riding it high and outside. And just like that, there are 2 aboard, 1 away, and here comes Daniel Robinson.
Chris, this might have This might be a high-scoring game the way this is shaping up. We may be here a little while.
We might be, although 7-inning game usually sped up a little bit. The second of 2 today, a doubleheader, and Daniel Robinson strides up to the left-handed batter's box wearing his white Hyannis uniform, orange sleeves, orange lettering with a little bit of blue trim, and nice blue high socks and a blue batting helmet. And he takes the first one for a ride out to left field. This one high in the air. Roberts calls off Ralat, and there's 2 away.
I was just going to say Robinson was 0 for 2 in game 1. He starts 0 for 1 here. And you don't want to waste 2 on and 1 out, especially down by 2 after the top of the first. Newstrom's been very reliable. That's who's up now, and so I would expect a hit. He's been so good for this team this season, Chris.
He has been. Despite the 0 for 2 in the afternoon cap, he reached base twice with a pair of walks.
He gets on base all the time. He hits. I mean, he just does everything for the team, and he plays wherever needed.
Very reliable in the field as well. Usually they put him in right, but wherever he's needed, he goes. He steps up to the lefty batter's box with runners on first and second. The righty deals inside, ball 1.
And you need a guy like Newstrom, who before this game was hitting .346 quietly. He's got the home run already. He's a really productive hitter for this team.
Production just what Hyannis needs, down 2-0 here in the bottom of the first, and the 1-0 is hacked on and missed. Fabian Pena grabbing the foul tip, just barely nicked Hampton's bat, but the Johnny Bench Award watch list catcher out of Manhattan holding on.
When you're on that list, you're good.
The 1-1. Runner goes on second. It's a throw down to third base. Pena on a line, but he cannot get the speeding Reese Hampton.
Whew, close play. I thought he was out, but just getting in there was Hampton. Very good base running.
Truly, and you looked like he was about to overslide the base as he just kind of moved away from that tag, which is why he was called safe, I believe.
And that's exactly what it was. He moved that arm. It's like a swimmer, and he knows how to steal bases, apparently.
And now the 1-2 to Newstrom. Slapped foul down the left field line. Out of play.
But staying put was Stovall. And considering how fast he is, I'm surprised he didn't try to take off himself.
Well, with 2 outs, you'd imagine the Harbor Hawks trying to play it a bit conservatively, as they've shot themselves in the foot time and time again with runners on base.
And the double play and the thrown out caught stealing. You're right. Absolutely right. Man, Bergner taking a while.
Didn't like the baseball. They're going to give him a new one as he lobs one into Pena behind home. Native of Cuba gets a ball and fires it right back out to the mound. As we mentioned, Pena came over to this country when he was 14 years old and has gotten himself out here to the Cape. And the 1-2 is swung over and through the gap on the right side for a base hit. Reese Hampton comes home to score. Hunter Stovall moves over to second. And it's an RBI single for Robert Newstrom.
There he is again with the production, cutting this lead in half. It's now 2-1. Hyannis trails, and Newstrom again getting the job done.
Bringing up Ryan Olenek as well. The first baseman out of Ole Miss steps up to the plate with runners on first and second and 2 away. A little rally brewing for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks against the East Chatham A's, who jumped out to a 2-0 lead early, but Hyannis fighting back right now. It's 2-1.
Oh, now the umpires are going to all come together here and talk about, they're going to say the ball hit the runner. And that's what the umpires are discussing. They're all going to talk. And, of course, the manager, Coach Schiffner, out there to talk to the umpires. And they're telling them, you know what, just go back. We'll figure it out. But that's an interesting call because this is a big spot in the game already, and it would mean a run, and they call him safe. They call him safe, so the run counts.
Yep, it stays 2-1 Hyannis. A little bit of intrigue with the umpires. Also, the infield coming in to have a word with Austin Bergner, making his Cape League debut and getting roughed up just a little bit. Led up that double to Reese Hampton, walked to Hunter Stovall, and then the single from Robert Newstrom got Reese Hampton home.
Puts his average on the season at .321. Very solid hitter.
So Ryan Olenek back at the plate. And the fresh count starts off with a strike outside corner. Curveball.
Olenek went 1 for 3 in the afternoon game. Was hit by a pitch, of course.
Of course. And the 0-1 is well outside, too. Count now 1-1. Olenek hit by almost 10 pitches in his college season at Ole Miss, wearing a few out in the Cape, too. Bergner looks back the runner at second. Pivots off the rubber. Hunter Stovall retreating. Slight wind out here in McKeon Park. And the 1-1. Nicked foul off the bat of Olenek. That one settles right in front of home plate, and it's 1-2.
Well, they give the same ball back to Bergner, which I'm surprised about. It was spun all kinds of crazy ways off the bat and then bounced off Olenek, so it's probably pretty scuffed up.
And here's Mr. Picky on the mound with the baseballs.
I know, especially with Bergner, who threw back a ball.
Now he's got a new one. Olenek is set at the right-hand side. Righty on the mound. Runners on first and second. Hyannis down 2-1 here in the bottom of the first. Bergner to the set. Here's the 1-2. Hit on a line and just foul down the third base side.
Good piece of hitting right there. He just needs to straighten it out by 5 feet or so, and he's got extra bases in a tie game.
Just not the case there. Little bit wide, and now it's 1-2. Bergner sets again. Looks back the runner, and Olenek calling time now. Trying to readjust his elbow guard. When you get hit by as many pitches as Olenek, you want to make sure all the protective gear is in place.
If you get hit in the elbow, it's the worst feeling in the world. Absolute worst feeling, so you got to make sure it's on there right.
No one wanting to get hurt playing summer ball either. Here's the 1-2. Hit on a line right back to Bergner at first. Looks like it must have taken a big skip off the ground before home plate, so he throws down to first to get the final out. And the Harbor Hawks strand 2-man aboard, but a double by Reese Hampton is singled home by Robert Newstrom, and it's now 2-1 Chatham going into the top of the second. Fabian Pena, Donovan Casey, and Ashton McGee do up when we return on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Stick around. We're back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Chris Walker, my broadcast partner. I'm Chris Lucy. Fabian Pena stepping up now. The catcher, his Chatham A's up 2-1 on the Harbor Hawks, starting things off here in the second.
Fabian just 3 for 15 this season, which is a little bit of a slow start. He's hitting 200.
And he takes the first pitch low and away for ball 1 from Ryan Weiss. Back out for inning number 2.
Had some trouble in inning number 1, but he's looking to settle down, only down by 1 run now.
The 1-0. A strike. Curveball just catching the outside corner. Count 1-1. Righty on the mound, righty at the plate. And now here's the 1-1. Slapped foul. Count 1-2. So it wasn't cloudy earlier today, but we have some clouds developing in the sky now. Nothing that's going to bring any rain.
Hopefully. They do look kind of dark in the distance.
The 1-2. Way outside from Weiss. Losing track of one. However, the righty regroups. Count 2-2.
Chris, as we saw, it's supposed to be sunny all day.
The pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Changeup. Gets Pena down swinging for out number 1. Donovan Casey striding up to the plate now. Right fielder out of Boston College in his first day of the Cape. He'll step up with 1 away. Chatham on top, 2-1. Casey was second team All New England this year for the Eagles. And he takes strike 1 on the outside corner. Batted .286 and stole 12 bases for the Eagles and went the other way too. And he takes strike 2 on the outside corner, checking his swing, but not really going around. Strike coming on the call.
From Stratford, Connecticut, which is not too far from where we live.
The 0-2. Low and away, count 1-2.
Well, Chris, I got the weather for you. It's just going to be mostly sunny. Until 8 p.m., there's a chance of showers.
Here's the 1-2. Fouled off behind home. So I was wrong. There is a chance of rain.
But you know what? I didn't see that yesterday or today when I was looking at the weather. It said sunny and hot all day, but yeah, there's some rain in the future. In an hour and a half, they're saying chance, but this game should be close to over or over by then, hopefully.
It should at least be through the 5th, which will be sufficient for a game, as the 1-2 is waved on and missed. Donovan Casey starting off his season with a strikeout, and there's 2 away.
Right, Casey. Well, it says here that he only has 4, but this is his 5th at bat. But it's his first. It's the 3rd strikeout in 5 at bats. He's 1 for 4 so far this year. Was 1 for 4, now 1 for 5.
Thought I read that he'd been activated today, but my bad there. Here's Ashton McGee, 1 for 3 today with a walk and a single in the first half of this doubleheader, and he grounds one right down to shortstop. Hunter Stovall off the backhand, fires down to first, and just like that, we're through the second. 1-2-3 for Ryan Weiss, bringing us to the bottom half of the inning. Ford Proctor, Brendan Donovan, and Chris Proctor due up when we return on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Stick around. Austin Bergner back out for another inning of work here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. He's taking the mound for Chatham. They lead 2-1 over the Harbor Hawks down here on Judy Scarafao Field at McKeon Park. Game 2 of a doubleheader this beautiful Sunday in Hyannis. Harbor Hawks took the first one 8-5, and now here's Ford Proctor trying to take the lead back here in Game 2. He'll start off the bottom of the second. At the left side of the plate, the righty deals. High in sight. 1-0 count.
You know, Chris, I really liked how Weiss bounced back in the top of the second inning with the 1-2-3 inning after having a rough first.
Indeed, now the 1-0. Smacked foul behind home, out of play. Proctor, 1 for 2 in the first half of the doubleheader with a pair of walks. And you're right, Chris, Weiss really buckling down and just loosening up a little bit. The 1-1. Low and inside, count 2-1. And they sound like oxymorons, but it makes sense in that the shoulder gets a little bit looser, and then you start to have those competitive juices flowing, and the ball just rides off the hand a little bit quicker. Now here's the 2-1. Low and inside again. Proctor ahead in the count 3-1. Nobody on, nobody out. Just underway here in the bottom of the second. Hyannis down 2-1 against the A's. Regner to the set. He and Pena agree on a pitch, and ball 4 gets away from Pena. Proctor turns around first on the walk as Pena gathers the ball behind the backstop, but the Rice product stays put.
And Chris, this is the first game all season that Ford Proctor can say he started above 200. He's hitting 207 after going 1 for 2 in the first half of today's doubleheader.
Yeah, Ford Proctor really starting to pick things up, and now here's Brendan Donovan, takes high and inside from Bergner.
Bergner losing a bit of the control in the second inning. He did have a walk in the first.
That's true. Now he squares up Donovan. Hasn't played yet today. He had the first game of this doubleheader off. He stands in the lefty batter's box, and the righty deals a ball low and away. Count now 2-0. Donovan in 27 at-bats so far this year. Only 3 hits, so 111 clip is a slow start. The 2-0. A strike over the heart of the plate.
And you know, it's been interesting with Donovan. Coach Gasman's wanted to get him as many reps as he can, kind of the same way as DiCaprio, because this guy can hit. He just hasn't been able to lately.
9 home runs for South Alabama this year, and he fouls off the 2-1. Count now 2-2.
And he's in there for his defense too. He plays a great third base. Micah Coffey's been taking over. You know, he gets the second half of this game off in favor of Donovan, but Donovan way better than that 111 average.
He'll try to prove that here. The 2-2. Forthcoming. Here goes. Strike 3. That one, a breaking pitch low and inside, but just catching enough of the zone to freeze up Brendan Donovan, and there's one away.
Interesting pitch. I mean, it was a good spot. It looked like it was just on the outside corner. You know, it's too close to take. That you got to try to kill the pitch off. A pitch like that, you can't really just leave that.
No, you can't. And still runner on first base. That's Ford Proctor, reached with a walk. Here's Chris Proctor, standing in the left-handed batter's box. Got the afternoon cap, the doubleheader off as well. He's catching, and time is called.
Excited to see him get some swings.
Proctor excited to get some swings too. Didn't really get to see too much at Duke this year, and already has 16 at-bats on the season, batting .250. And the first pitch to him is cut on and sent high in the air, but foul behind the third base dugout, out of play.
And Chris, 3 of those hits came in the same game. He went 3 for 3 against Chatham last time they played.
So Chris Proctor, someone the A's are familiar with. He looks to advance the runner on first base. Hyannis down 2-1 in game 2 of this doubleheader. The 0-1, another strike. Proctor just watches that one go by. 0-2 count. Proctor now defending the plate.
You got to imagine because he hasn't seen a lot of the ball lately, it might be a little bit tougher for him to get in there, maybe take a few at-bats to get back in the swing of things.
Especially with the sun pouring into his eyes. Now it's set a little bit, and it gets in the way of lefties standing in that left-handed batter's box as the 0-2 is fouled off behind home. Proctor just staying alive. The sun is pouring in. It really comes around eye level now before it gets below the tree line around this time of night. Just shooting in from left field and right in the eyes of right-handed pitchers and left-handed batters. The 0-2. Set high on a line out to right field. Casey going back to the track. He catches it right there and makes Ford Proctor retreat back to first base. He throws in, but behind Proctor, who's safe at first, and now there's 2 away with Jake Mangum coming up for his second ups today.
Oh, what a hit by Proctor. He hit that ball a long way. At first, I thought it was going to go out or at least hit the wall, but it stays in just long enough. It's pretty deep out there at 332.
Yeah, Chris Proctor really riding that one about as far as he could take it, but not far enough. Ford Proctor still stays on first base. However, there's 2 away, and here comes Jake Mangum, 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Stands in the left-handed batter's box. The righty, however, throws back to first to keep Ford Proctor honest. Proctor, draft pick of the Kansas City Royals back in 2015, 40th round. And the first pitch to Mangum is fouled off down the left field line. And Mangum, a draft pick himself, however, his year came this year, 2016. He was picked up by the New York Yankees, 902 overall, but spurned the Bombers to go back for his senior year at Mississippi State University. Now the 0-1. Clapped high in the air down the left field line. This one brings Roberts towards the wall, towards the line. However, he cannot get there. Drops right at his feet.
Not many people can say they've been drafted by the Yankees. It's quite an honor.
No, not many people out there that could turn down the Yankees either. Is one of the richest farm systems in baseball. Of course, the tradition, the pinstripes, the world championships. But Mangum with some unfinished business down at Mississippi State. I was talking to him, and when I just wanted to ask him about how things were down at Mississippi State, the first thing he brought up was that his Bulldogs were 0-4 in super regional play over the last 2 years. And the 0-2 has to wait. Ford Proctor diving back to first on the throw from Bregman. Count remains 0-2. And, you know, a guy like that who is just so at odds with the fact that he's 0-4 in super regional play can't leave that chapter of his book open as he grounds one down to short, and it gets away from Rolat, who lets it bounce off of his chest. And we'll wait till the official scorer calls that one. Looks like an error, and Jake Mangum stands on first base with an E6. And just like that, with 2 outs, there's men on first and second, and Reese Hampton coming up, who's 1 for 1 with a double.
Well, Rolat just booted it. It was a routine enough ground ball. Harbor Hawks will take it, 2 on, 2 out.
And Reese Hampton will take the left-handed batter's box. The righty, Bregman, looks back to runner at second, fires home. And Hampton claps one foul. That one kicking up a line of chalk halfway down the first base line, but slicing foul.
Hampton already with 4 hits on the day, 3 in the last game, and the 1 in the first inning today. He's caught fire again after a mini slump the past 2 games.
Started today at 391, but he'll be batting over 400 most likely by the time today is over. Here's the 0-1. Inside, ball 1. 1-1 count. So there's runners on first and second. The E6 from Jake Mangum advancing. The E6 on the ball hit by Jake Mangum, advancing Ford Proctor. And Hyannis in prime position to chip away at this 2-1 Chatham lead here in the bottom of the second. And the next pitch gets away from Fabian Pena. Bouncer from Bregman advancing both runners.
They call it a wild pitch, Chris. And I just want to tell you about Hampton. He's hitting .416 right now.
Well, there you have it. He's back over 400 now. We'll call that the Ted Williams line. If over 200 is the Mendoza.
Definitely the Ted Williams line. Not many people other than him can do it. Could do it.
No one has since. I believe it was 1941 the last time anybody hit 400, and it was the Splendid Splinter. Reese Hampton back in the lefty batter's box. Now runners on second and third with 2 away. The 2-1 in on the hands and sent foul behind home plate out of play. Hyannis picked up a win in the first leg of this doubleheader, an 8-5 W to break a 4-game skid. Now they look to make it 2 in a row. However, down against the A's here in the bottom of the second. The 2-2. Served foul again down the left field line. Bouncing off the net down the left field line, and we'll do the 2-2 over.
Good fight from Hampton here. He wants another hit.
Not one prone to striking out. Only 4 Ks and 46 at-bats in the CCBL this year.
Definitely an all-star candidate.
That was just going into today. The 2-2. Ball 3. Low and inside, loading the count, and now Bregman is 1 pitch away from loading the bases.
I would be very surprised if Hampton's not an all-star right now.
Certainly going to be in the conversation down the stretch if he keeps playing like this. The 3-2. Tipped foul. That one gets away from Fabian Pena as well. And they need new baseballs down at home plate.
Too many foul balls for Hampton. He doesn't care at all. He's just putting up a good fight right now.
Adam Lebardone takes a new load of baseballs from the bat boy. Flips one to Fabian Pena, who gets it out to Bregman. And with 2 aboard and 2 out, Hyannis is looking to at least tie this game. Anything out of the infield will likely send Ford Proctor home. And not everything up at 2. But first you have to get there, and Reese Hampton 1 for 1 on the day with a double. Seems like the man for the job. He stands in the left-handed batter's box. The righty deals, and he serves one out into right center field, left center field. Olson tracking back, and Roberts diving to make a play in left. He can't get there, and it goes to the wall. Mangum and Proctor come in to score, and Hyannis now jumps ahead 3-2.
Just like that, the lead changes, and 2 more doubles today for Hampton, and boy, is he as hot as he's ever been. He's got 5 hits between the past 2 games alone. What a start.
What a start indeed, and now here comes Hunter Stovall, reached with a walk in his first at-bat in this game. He comes up with Hampton on second base, and Hyannis in the driver's seat, 3-2 here in the bottom of the second. First pitch, foul back.
Chris, this is just some good 2-out hitting right there by Hampton. Something that this team had been lacking before last game. I mean, you know, even though they were getting runs, they weren't getting them in at the right times. And today, both games have been getting very timely hits.
And now the 0-1 to Stovall. First, Bregman looks back, now deals. And Stovall slices it foul down the first base line. Another 2-out rally for the Harbor Hawks. Seems like they have been doing their best offensively with their backs against the wall, as we saw a 2-out rally yesterday as well. Here's the 0-2. In the dirt outside. Slider missing. Now 1-2 on Stovall. So Stovall has become more of a slash hitter after being a home run line drive type player in high school. His head coach at Mississippi State, Andy Canizero, completely changing his swing, and the 1-2 is low and away. Snap throw to second base. Fabian Pena nonchalantly making that throw, almost fooling Reese Hampton, but he scurries back in safely.
Chris, I told you about Hampton's average last before he got the double. Now he's up to 426.
Impressive from Hampton, and the 2-2 is fired high and outside for ball 3. And Hampton really a prototypical leadoff guy, although he's in the 2 spot today with that quick swing and then even quicker footwork. Just very direct to the ball. Now the payoff pitch to Stovall. High and outside, ball 4. Another free pass for Stovall. He walks down to second base, and here's Daniel Robinson, 0 for 1 in this cap, but up with runners on first and second and 2 outs.
We'll have a visit to the mound, but again, as you said, another walk for Stovall, his second of the evening portion of this game. He'll take it. He'll take the free pass and the on-base percentage. Still no recorded at-bats in this game, but the on-base percentage goes way up. And the Harbor Hawks, again, with 2 outs, they continue to put men on base and make good things happen.
Just like that, Hyannis is up 3-2 after Mangum reaches on the error, Ford Proctor on the walk, and Reese Hampton doubling them both home. Hunter Stovall just walked. And after John Schiffner heads back into the dugout, Daniel Robinson will step up to the left-handed side of the plate. Central Michigan Chippewa digging in against the Tar Heel. On the mound, it's Bregman. Looks back, the runner at second. Moves to the plate. A strike. That one a fastball, high in sight. Count 0-1. The 0-1. Clapped foul. This one just a little bit early. Fouled off down the third base side into the bleachers.
Chris, with a win today, Hyannis would go to 5-6-1. And they'll get right back in the middle of things, which is right where they want to be. Still early in the season. And treading water for sure they would be. They'd have 11 points.
And that would probably get them out of the cellar of the Eastern Division as well, as Wareham now at 4-8. Already doing the job with the win especially. And then Daniel Robinson hits one on the ground and up the gap on the right side, through for a base hit. Throw home is offline, and Reese Hampton comes in to score. Fabian Pena being driven up the third base line. Hunter Stovall stands on second base. Hampton, the runner to score. Now it's 4-2 Hyannis, and Robinson on first base with a single.
This all happening with 2 outs, remember, and this is just a big inning now. Hyannis starting to get the big innings. Things are starting to really change around this team in the past couple of hours with the win in the game 1 and trailing 2-0 after the top of the first, and now they're up 4-2.
And now Robert Newstrom's up. He stands in the lefty batter's box, 2 on, 2 out, and sends a drive out to right field. It's deep, it's high, and it is gone. A 3-run home run for Robert Newstrom, and Hyannis jumps ahead 7-2.
Well, that's the second home run of the season for Newstrom, and what a shot. There was no doubt about that, and I'll tell you what, Chatham needs the bullpen going already. 6 runs in the inning. We didn't think we'd see that again, and now we're right there.
Indeed, and now Ryan Olenek comes up with the bases empty, but a 2-out rally with the best of them.
And all of those runs are unearned runs, our scorekeeper John Cabral tells us.
And the first pitch to Ryan Olenek coming in for ball 1, and makes sense. Jake Mangum would have been the final out of this inning, and it would have been a 1-2-3 for Bergner had that not come to pass. And there's ball 2, high and away.
It's amazing how you can give up 6 in an inning and not have it touch your ERA.
Amazing how what a difference 1 out can make. And the next pitch hit on a line right to second base. Jake Palamaki gloves it forehand and just flips it back to the mound on the fly. So there's your inning. Hyannis bats around, and we now go to the top of the third, but not before the Harbor Hawks can snatch back the lead in a dramatic rally. 5 runs from Hyannis, 6 runs from Hyannis bring them to a 7-2 lead. We'll be right back when we return on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network with Antonio Relat, Jake Palamaki, and Jacob Olson. Welcome back into McKeon Park. Chris Lucy joining you from the broadcast booth. And if you missed the bottom of the second, you missed a lot. 2 quick outs for the Chatham A's, but an E6 started a 2-out rally that put Hyannis on top 7-2. Now Ryan Weiss back out to get things going in the third. Deals a first pitch that's fouled off to Antonio Relat, the shortstop out of the University of Alabama at Birmingham, who started off that whole rally inadvertently by booting that ball up the middle. And then he swings over, strike 2, a nice curveball from Weiss. Now Weiss to the set again, kicks and deals the 0-2, high and outside. The Wright State University product, now with a 1-2 count. He sets again, winds and fires. Low and away, count now 2-2. So save the first inning where Weiss surrendered 2 extra base hits. He's been good. Had a 1-2-3 in the second, and he just rings up Antonio Relat for strike 3 on the inside corner. Got him looking with a fastball. And that'll bring up Jake Palomaki, second baseman out of Boston College. He's 0 for 1 today. Started off this game with a fly out to center field. He jumps into the left-handed batter's box. The all-time walks leader at Boston College. The first pitch. Taking a strike over the outside corner. Count 0-1. 1 away. Hyannis on top. 7-2 here in the top of the third. And the 0-1 is thrown outside for ball 1. Palomaki still trying to hit his stride again. Missed 13 games this season due to a hamstring injury. The 1-1. Ball high and away. Count now 2-1. Weiss to the set again. Fires. Pitch that's cut on and hit high down the left field line. That one, however, foul. Bounces into the Harbor Hawks bullpen where a few arms are warming up. Right-hander getting loose for Hyannis out there. Now the 2-1. Ball 3, low and away. Scratch that, that's the 3-2. The scoreboard was lagging just a bit behind. And now Weiss sets up and deals the payoff pitch. Inside, ball 4. Palomaki gets on with 1 out. It's a walk and brings up Jacob Olson.
The center fielder for South Carolina, number 6, Jacob Olson.
Olson's one of the more interesting characters on this team. Coming out of South Carolina, where he actually got no Division I looks coming out of high school. Born and raised in Monroe, Georgia, goes to South Carolina now, as Weiss throws back to first base. Had only one D1 offer to go to Western Carolina, but he turned it down to go to junior college, and it made a big difference in his career as the first pitch to Olson is a ball low and away. Runner on first base, the righty Olson winds his bat through the zone. Weiss on the mound, runner on first base. The pitch. Low and away. Count now 2-0. Olson hit a double in the first to get things going. Was later sent home on a triple from Shea Langeliers. One of 2 runs for the A's as the next pitch is a strike. Brings the count to 2-1. My broadcast partner, Chris Walker, joining me in the booth again.
Thank you, Chris.
Here's a 2-1. Hit on the ground right down to third base. Donovan bobbles it at first, fires across the diamond after gathering it back, and gets the out.
Nice play by Donovan. He regrouped, gathered himself, took a good step, and got a nice throw across the diamond to Olenek. Good play.
The play advances Jake Palomaki to second, and With 2 away, here comes Shea Langoliers. Not anyone who Weiss wants to see out there, as Langoliers in the first game hit a grand slam in the top of the 7th and follow that up with a triple in the top of the first of game 2. And the first pitch he sees is clubbed right over to the right side. Proctor fields it forehand, throws down to first, and just like that, the loudest hitter of today is silenced to end the inning. So no hits and a walk, but Jake Palomaki is stranded on base, and now we go to the bottom of the 3rd. Nick Patton, Cody Roberts, and Fabian Pena due up when we return on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Stick around. Hyannis leads 7-2.